I'm just thrilled by that. It's because I do at least one thing daily. But if you quit, like I wanted to quit. Back in 2009, I just wanted to walk away. If you quit, you'll never get to your goal. And remember that you have options. And those are just a few. And that's what I would like to leave you with today. That word options, if you remember nothing else, remember options. I'd like to take some questions, if you don't mind. Yes?
Once you published your books, what was the process? How do you sell them? Do you take them yourself to bookstores, or?
Me as me, or me as a self-publisher, or what?
Well, I'd be curious about both, actually.
Okay. So, as self-publisher, well, if you go through a reputable printer, you can often have them do some of the distribution yourself. You can also hire a distributor, and you can also hire marketing. You can go to bookstores. One interesting fact is, when I first started my company, I said, okay, I made a list of bookstores, I'm going to go to them all, and I'm going to get all of my books in all of those bookstores. I started researching how books are actually sold, and I discovered that 80% of all books are not sold in bookstores. I didn't even believe it. I had to double check, triple check, quadruple check those statistics, but it's true. Even big publishers will tell you that over 80% of all books are not sold in bookstores. They're sold online, they're sold in small stores, they're sold at the airport, they're sold in gift shops. And so I started thinking, do I even need to get in bookstores? I am in bookstores now, but I haven't really pressured about it. And whenever a bookstore says, oh, we'd be happy to carry your books at $50 a book for 3 months and you have to pay all shipping, I say, forget that. No way. It's not worth my time or effort to maybe make 2 pennies. No. Instead, I focus on the big names and the small specialty shops. So as a self-publisher, it's a little bit harder because there's a little bit more stigma, although that's changing. Just in the last 6 months, there's been a whole different way of looking at self-publishing than there ever has been before. And I'm really happy about that. There are more e-books sold than physical books, and so all of these are an e-book, and we're actually just now putting them in audio, because audiobooks sell more than printed books these days too. And I'm thrilled about that. I'm disappointed about the illustrations don't go through into audio, but there are multiple ways. And so if you pick a reputable printer and go through their distribution channels, is a really good way of first getting distributed. And myself, that's what I do, and I have a few different companies that I use too. Did that answer your question? I'm happy to ramble on too. Any other questions? Yes?
Oh, hi. You mentioned, you talked about someone can help you write a perfect query letter for $60. How do you find someone to do it for $60? And how do you decide who is someone that, well, this is another related question that, I guess the second question about your ideas and protecting them, and if you just tell your whole story to somebody.
Right. No, those are 2 drastically different questions, but I'm happy to answer both.
Yeah, and I just realized that if you're having someone help you with your query letter, you're going to have to tell them your whole.
You do? Okay. So the question is, how do you pick a query letter writer to write your query letters for you? I never even knew they existed until I heard about it at a writers group. And one of the people there said, oh yeah, that's actually how I make a living. I write novels for fun, and I don't make any money off of them. But my query letter business, I'm doing great. In fact, that's what enabled me to quit my job, and I write like 10 of them a day, and it's great. And I started searching online, and you can search for query letter writers and also a lot of copy editors. Because when you hire editing done, and I recommend that no matter what route you go, because even a traditional publishing company will want to see a very, very polished manuscript. And it's called a manuscript until it's in book form. So don't call it a book or they'll think you're a newbie. Call it a manuscript. And they want to see it well polished. So that you will be hiring a regular editor. And then at the very end, right before it's published, it goes through a different editor called a copy editor. And that's the person who's looking for missing quotation marks and making sure everything's perfect, putting the bow on the package. And copy editors often do query letters as a side business. And so if you can search that way. The second question was, how do you protect your ideas? I really felt that was something I needed to be very, very concerned about also. But the truth of the matter is, an idea is a dime a dozen. It's your implementation of it that matters. If you go a traditional route, or if you go through most independent publishing houses, if you get a copyright on your manuscript before you send it to them, they'll probably go, newbie, not interested. They're so protective of their stuff that they don't want the world to actually read it, and that means they probably don't want us to edit it. That surprised me. I thought before I even sent my first query letter, I should send out, I should get a copyright on my work. But it's your implementation of it, because we all know Harry Potter. There's 1,000 other books about boys who go to wizarding school, but there's only one Harry Potter. In all of these books, well, of course, I think they're original ideas. There's probably the same idea written in a completely different way. And so I am right there with you as a writer, saying, oh, protect my work, don't steal it. I don't want to tell anyone, but the thing is you do want to tell the whole world so that they buy it. And then as a publisher, I see you have to tell the world. You have to. Which is not the advice I wanted to have been told myself. So it was very hard for me to give it. Any other questions? I am happy to answer questions later today or tomorrow. Sunday at noon, I'll be signing my books in the bookstore, the HSC bookstore, from noon to 1. And I have bookmarks here. In fact, if you want to hand them out. Oh, and I have a mailing list. I should have passed it around. Anybody who would like to be kept aware of anything going on with Do Life Right, please sign up for that. I have business cards here so that you can email me whenever you want. There are websites listed on the handouts. Feel free to email me. If you mention that you were in this talk, I'll probably respond much faster. And I love this. This is, other than unschooling, which I consider actually publishing unschooling for my family because it's a family affair, it's my biggest passion in life. I love every part of it, which is why the solution of starting my own company worked so great for me. But that is not the answer for most people, and I know that, and I won't push that on anyone. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, you've been talking a lot about getting your book published and everything.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about marketing it?
Right. Marketing, yes. Marketing is a really good question, especially as the publishing world is changing. I mentioned it was changing. Traditional publishing companies, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago even, they would give you an advance of, if you're lucky, a few $1,000s. And they would take a brand new author, give them an advance, and they would help them build their platform. Marketing is, in my opinion, the hardest thing of publishing. I do these speeches, but I am an extreme introvert. I would prefer to just sit in my corner of the room and write all day and not talk to people, and marketing forces you to get out there. But you don't have to get out there in person, you can get out there online. So traditional companies, as well as all other companies, they are now giving smaller advances. They're taking longer to pay back the advance, the royalties are taking longer. Plus, they usually will not sign you on unless you have built a platform. And in my opinion, they usually want a person to have built a platform of at least 10, 20,000 people, followers. In my opinion, if you have a platform that large, you already have a market of people who want to buy your book, so why do you need them? But yet they're starting to require that. So what you need to do is you need to write your manuscript, which I'm assuming most people here have already done, perfect it as much as possible, give it a great title, and then start telling the world about it. Get a Facebook fan page, tweet about it, get a website. If you don't already have a website, get at least one. If you can get your name.com, wonderful. If you can get your book.com, you know, it depends on what you're going for. If you've got one book in you, do your book.com. But if you've got 20 books in you, do your name.com or something else that would be you and make it look awesome. And then tell everyone you know and have them tell everyone. And the word of mouth marketing works better than any other kind of marketing. I have spent literally thousands of dollars on ads and paying people, and they've all been a waste of money. Just a huge waste of money. Speaking at conferences is a great thing, but the big thing is to tell the world and start giving things away. Give away free copies of your ebook, and especially give away physical copies in exchange for reviews. While you're not paying for a review, you're paying for a review. By giving them a copy of a book, then they'll put reviews on like Amazon and such. Do you have a book already?
I have a really bad one.
Okay, so it's not published yet?
No.
But you've written one?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm halfway through a second one that I'm a lot more
Great.
passionate about. So.
Okay, well, series sell much better than standalone novels. That goes for chapter books and adult novels and the whole gamut. Because it's so funny, with my Right on Time books, with each new book, my sales for book one go whoosh. You'd think the sales for that one would go whoosh, but they go, you know. But sales for book one go whoo. It's so amazing to me that that would happen. I'm just checking the time. I know we're kicked out of here at a certain time. We're good though, right?
Good, like 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. Yes. I have 2 questions, but okay.
So what is, the ebooks are really cooking right now, and what is changing because of that, and how are you using that?
Yes, she asked about ebooks and how popular they are right now.
Let
right?
me throw this little bit in.
Oh, sure.
Because I read that a lot of people are selling a book for 99 cents or $1.99 to
Right.
be a teaser. They're using it as a teaser
Right.
for a bigger book they have.
Right. Oh, not just
Which
that.
might also be an ebook or an
Right.
introduction to it.
No, so ebooks are extremely popular right now. They are taking off bigger and better than ever before. Ebooks are essentially like the music industry, where the music industry used to have to get a record into stores to sell, and so you needed a label to have your record in the stores. And with an ebook, it's like a downloadable song. Same thing. Just like with music, if a reader gets that 99-cent song and they think it sucks, they're not going to buy your next one. I'm finding that with ebooks, and I love them. I actually don't read them myself, but I love them. You need to make sure it's just as polished and as perfect as a physical book. And what authors are doing is they're going, oh, this was the best book ever, first draft form, let's publish an ebook. And no one is ever interested in them ever again because they have typos and spelling mistakes, and while their concept was good, it wasn't great. And so if you don't take those steps to make it a professional quality, then you will fail, and people will remember that. As for selling it for 99 cents, I actually think that's brilliant. I have obviously a lot of writer friends, and many of who will actually give their book away for a limited number of days. Free book. I have a romance writer friend. She just did this. Gave her book away for free for one whole weekend, completely free on Kindle. And the great thing was, she gave away so many free copies that now that book, which had essentially no sales before that day, after that weekend, it showed up in the top 10 of historical romance novels. So now, she's selling hundreds a day because it's in the top 10 because she gave it away. Talk about brilliant. I'm actually about to do that with Right on Time Arizona. Give that away free on Kindle. And I'm hoping people will sell this buy the new collection either on Kindle or a physical book or audio or just book number 2. I think it's brilliant. And every time, these type of books cost more than a regular novel because of the illustrations. They cost a fortune. Makes me wonder why I decided to do children's books. But the big thing is, if you put your ebook for sale for $7.99 and you sell 5 copies, wouldn't it be better to put it for sale for 99 cents and sell 2,000 copies? You're reaching more people who will then love you or hate you, but hopefully love you. And then they'll buy your next book because they'll be hooked. Every single time I read a book by someone who I've never read a book by before, if I love it, I immediately go buy their next book. I'm a book junkie. That's what we do. I had a fix, I need my next fix by that same author because I want to be back in their world. So I think it's brilliant, and you shouldn't put your book too high. That's a big mistake a lot of people do, including myself. I've done that. I've been playing around to see. And lower prices, you sell more, and then you get a higher rating, and people find you faster, and it's a trade-off, and you can play around with pricing. She had a question first, and I have to answer both, though.
I came in late, so I don't know what you said in the first 15 minutes. So I'm a complete newbie. Always wanted to do this, never have you did the first,
Yes.
So, children's books.
Yes.
I have the illustrator, I just haven't read the story. When you submit a children's book, it's with the illustrations complete.
Oh, no. She asked about when you submit a children's book, do you submit it with an illustrator? The answer is absolutely no. Publishing companies do not want it I'm talking about the publishing industry as a whole. If you go in with an illustrator, they'll say, oh, you've defined it too much. We want to define it ourselves. So please don't do that. On the other hand, if you talk to me, I love it when you have an illustrator already in mind, because then we can work out a great deal that will be beneficial to all of us, rather than me finding an independent illustrator who you might hate, because I work a little differently too. I make sure that my authors like the illustrations. And with most companies, you get what you get, and you signed away the rights to that. And so they do not want you walking in with an illustrator because they have their set of illustrators already, and they don't want to hear about a new one that they've never dealt with before, that they don't know if they can meet deadlines or submit their work in the proper format with the high resolution that they need and all of that. But I personally love it. And that's, in fact, why I did that picture book, because she was an illustrator and an author. And so I immediately thought of all these projects I could have her do. She's doing a second one right now. It's still not her original idea, but I love her and her writing. And as for not hearing the first 15 minutes, I'm recording that. And if you send me an email or put a note on there, I'd be happy to send you a link to it. So you can watch the first 15 minutes. Okay. You had a question?
I was just going to ask you, what would you suggest for, like, what form of publishing for parents? Because I have a book that I've had written for like 3 years, every conference, like, okay, I'm gonna self-publish it, or
Right.
I'm gonna e-publish it, or something.
Right.
And,